Welcome back to the weekly news roundup. This is the business and the Sillyville editions. These are recorded live Fridays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you would like to catch the show live, and we do have a new page, switchedtolinux.com/live, we'll show you all of the different places where we are currently live streaming. So if we are gulagged by Queen Susan and the Tubies is not on that list, you can grab one of the other 4 links and watch the show on any of those. If we add any other streaming places, you can find it over on that one as well. All right, let's get on into the busyness news. VirtualBox 7.0 drops, and we have a lot of fun new features. I might have to see if I can install the latest version of VirtualBox to test it out. First, we have ARM Mac client. So in theory, you can install a Mac through a VM with it. We have Windows 11 TPM support. So you guys that want to run Windows 11 sequestered inside of a Linux to control more of the network by the host can run Windows 11 inside of it now. And the last thing we get is full VM disk encryption. That is pretty fun. So if you want to have a separate VM backed up somewhere that you can store passwords or other information on that you want to make sure is private, you can go ahead and use the full disk encryption option and have an encrypted OS inside of your main OS, which if that's also encrypted, you'll have encryptionception. But the new version of VirtualBox 7 is dropping out now, so anywhere where you can get the newer version. I don't know exactly what it would take to get it over on Linux yet, but it is starting to roll out with these new features and updates and upgrades, so that might be pretty cool. So let's go ahead and have a look at that, and let me know what you think about those. Well, Twitter does not really want you to save tweets with screenshots because, that could be incriminating, particularly when they're rolling out the edit button to allow people to say something all riled up and then change what they say. And so everyone's like, oh, what are you getting all riled up for? That tweet doesn't say that. So if you are using the screenshot options on your devices, it's like, hey, this is a tweet. You should share this instead of screenshot it. Screenshotting bad, sharing is good. Of course, this will allow the monetization to pass along as well, and it allows any future edits that happen to that tweet will also be carried through, whereas this screenshot takes exactly what was said before the edit, and that, Twitter, is why people want to use it. But they do not want you to do that, so if they detect you using a screenshot, then they are going to ask you, do you want to tweet it out instead? No, I'd like to save the evidence of the crime of the moron. That's what I would like to do. All right, there is a new single board computer that is coming out from Pine 64. This is going to be competing from the text of the article here. It looks like it is competing with the Pi Zero. So this is the one that's like half the size of a credit card. I should have gotten one out. I actually have one in the cabinet over here. But this guy here is, it competes with that really small one. It has a price point of only $10. And who knows, maybe they'll actually be able to get them out. So it's like the Raspberry Pi Pico W. The footprint measures 51 by 21 millimeters, slightly thicker than the Pico W at 19 millimeters compared to 3.9 millimeter. Wait, what? 19 millimeters? That's big. Wait, what? Okay, that does not make sense. Okay, it's slightly thicker. Instead of 3.9 millimeters, it's 19 millimeters. That's like almost an inch thick. This SBC is not an inch thick. That is a typo in the article. No idea. But we'll see. But anyway, the new boards are coming out from Pine 64. So once again, they are adding a lot into it. And the boards are actually designed to be able to use a lot of the same Raspberry Pi operating systems. So in theory, people will not have to redesign their OS installs for the new boards. They should work with anything based on Raspberry Pi. So keep an eye out for Pine 64 for more information on that. Well, of course, we covered an article a few weeks back where the military was buying millions of dollars of HaloLenses from Microsoft so they can have augmented reality Battlefield. And it turns out after having all these things and doing the first few rounds of testing that HoloLens makes all of these military soldiers nauseous. Or maybe that was just all of the crazy weirdos that the military has been letting into the military lately. I'm not sure. I don't know if they controlled for the mental ill people that they are bringing in. But they did say that after all these different HoloLenses are being brought in, that the military, Bloomberg reported that among those who experienced mission-affecting physical impairments, 80% started feeling ill in under 3 hours. So the military gets these things to augment reality, their battlefield, and it's just making all their guys sick. Everything the military is doing right now is making the soldiers sick. So I'm not all that seriously concerned, but it is definitely an interesting, widespread scale test that, I don't think that virtual reality is really going to take off, because in every iteration we've ever had tends to make people nauseous. So that's exciting. And on to our final story today. I think this was submitted by a viewer. We had a few viewer submitted articles this week. The report claims that over almost half the systems currently available in the world are ineligible for Windows 11 upgrades. All right, CPU requirements are holding most of these systems back. Windows 11 has been known for its onerous operating system requirements since before it launched. A new report claims those requirements are keeping significant numbers of systems from upgrading, and that Windows 11 adoption is lagging. So basically, Windows would like us to throw away all of our perfectly good working computers to buy brand new computers in the middle of an economic recession and a chip shortage, to spend thousands of dollars that Americans don't have because they have to put credit on grocery bills and gasoline, because the moron in charge has closed our pipelines and prevented us from drilling new oil. But Windows would like us to all throw away perfectly good working machines that would continue to work just fine if we just, switch to Linux. And so that's kind of the case here. So Windows 11, the reports, let's see. So Windows 11 readiness report, those 30 million workstations from 60,000 organizations at 57.26% are eligible for automatic Windows 11 updates. Over 40% don't meet Microsoft's official system requirements. The initial run-up to the launch, much controversy surrounded around its requirement for TPM 2.0 and a relatively recent CPU. Microsoft wants users to have at least Intel 8th Gen or AMD Zen 2 processor, but the company is considering allowing some Intel 7th generation chips in Gen Z 1S, according to Landsweeper. The requirements are the main roadblock. And, this is kind of problematic. Like, why are we generating all this e-waste? Just switch to Linux in many instances. Not in every instance we can't necessarily do it, but in many, many instances we actually can. And in all those instances, we probably should. Well, if you'd like to help support the channel, we do have affiliates. Today, we're actually highlighting our shop. You can get some Switch to Linux t-shirts, mouse pads, coffee cups, all sorts of other fun stuff. It's available over here on shop.switchedtolinux.com. We have cats and tinfoil hats and water bottles. We do have shopping bags as well. Lots of fun stuff. Sub to the cat because the human is crazy. All sorts of cool things. Head on over there and see if there's anything there for you. Well, guys, let's do it. Let's head to Sillyville. All right. Talk about mad scientists. Human brain cells are transplanted into baby rats' brains and grow and form connections. So great. We are going to have... what was that? The Secrets of NIM. Is the Secrets of NIM going to come true? We're going to have a lot of superhuman intelligent rats running around as a result of crazy experiments. And then Timmy's going to get all involved, and then we're going to have some Chinese knockoff part 2, which is horrible. You guys ever see that part 2 of Secret of NIM? Like, part 1 was like an amazing dark animation film from the era from like Heavy Metal and Wizards and things like that. Secrets of NIM, really, really fascinating, really good. Well, a friend of mine's like, I hadn't heard of the movie. A friend of mine's like, oh, this is really cool. You should get it. Well, it came with part 1 and part 2 in the same pack. So like, all right, let's do that. So the next week, we watched part 2. It was like 30 minutes long. And the entire credit source is all Chinese. There was no point, no plot. It was simply a marketing ploy to sell a bunch of copies based on the success of part one. It was horrible. So it's one of our big jokes about what movie should we watch. Let's do Secrets of NIMH 2. That's an excellent one. But that's what's going to happen because we are now transplanting human brain cells into baby rats and allowing them to form connections. This is a bad thing, people. The rats are going to take over the world. I don't know. Although I gotta say, I think that literal rats with human brains might do a better job running America than Congress does right now. So maybe this is a good thing. Maybe we can elect the humanized rat in Pennsylvania because he'd do way better than Dr. Oz or a brain damaged man. So bring on the rats. Bring on the rats. I'm going to vote for them. Come on, get them in Pennsylvania, get them in the election. I'm going to vote for the humanized rats in the election in Pennsylvania. You guys join me. Write in human brain cell transplanted rats. Let's see if we can get enough people to vote in a rat into Senate in Pennsylvania, because none of the other choices we have are going to work. All right, from Not the Bee. Rather than prosecuting car thieves, St. Louis wants to sue Kia and Hyundai for making their cars too easy to steal. We just need to take these criminals and lock them up for a long time. That's what we need to do. Car thieves on the rise in St. Louis, and why wouldn't they be? Kimberly Garner, a circuit attorney, is George Soros-backed pro-crime prosecutor. Only 25% of crimes have been prosecuted in the city since she took office. Of these cases, Garner is interested in prosecuting. The most famous she went after is Mark and Patricia McCloskey for brandishing weapons on their own property when a bunch of rioters were screaming obscenities to the white people and busting down their gates. So they want to press charges against the people defending their property here in America, but not the mob of people who broke down the private gates. Okay, very good. So the political prosecutions take up a lot of time. There's not much left over for Garner to prosecute actual crime like car thieves. Headline says it all. In 2 weeks, St. Louis saw 462 auto thefts and just one charge. Only a small percentage of auto theft-related crimes led to charges in St. Louis. What was that? Did they hijack the mayor's car? This reminds me of, I think it was Philadelphia when the mayor comes up to talk about how he needs to be soft on crime and he gets carjacked on the way. It was hilarious. Yeah, of course. So the city's solution to all the car thieveries: sue the automakers for making the cars too easy to steal. Of course. You could just, sue the criminal instead and lock them up for a while. Because I got news for you. All these criminals, they're just committing crimes because you're letting them. If you take the criminals for the most minor of crimes and you lock them up for as long as the law allows, guess what? Crime's going to drop. Nearly every one of these crimes that's going on is a repeat offender who's just out. I mean, the police picked him up last week. He's just out again because he knows nothing's going to happen. So there you have it. You're in St. Louis. Good luck with, particularly if you have a Kia or a Hyundai. Apparently they're really easy to break into, but don't worry. The city's going to sue them to make your car harder to break into rather than, the thief who actually stole it. I mean, really. Your fault. You left the keys open. And our final article and user submitted. Of course, we did talk about Apple having a new feature built into their iOS that is going to detect some is what it perceives to be a collision and then call the police if you do not respond. Well, apparently roller coasters trigger this thing. And so a whole lot of people going on roller coasters all around the country, apparently their watches and phones are calling 911 for them. Because, of course, you're on a roller coaster. You don't realize, you got a minute there going, all this kind of stuff. Your watch is like, hey, emergency call. If you don't respond to this, we're going to call 911. And then your phone calls 911 and they're like 911. And then a whole bunch of ambulances show up because a whole bunch of iPhone users are, apparently in a car accident on the roller coaster or something. But yeah, apparently this thing has a deep propensity to call, and of course you're on a roller coaster, so you can't even get to your phone in your pocket to make sure that to respond to the thing. So there you go. Of course, they are warning, things not okay. This is actually a sign from one of the parks. Cell phones and other devices should not be brought aboard due to dynamic movement you will experience on this ride. Apple Watches and similar devices may activate their emergency call features. To prevent your device from making unintended 911 calls, please turn it off or enable airplane mode. Here's another one. Attention, cell phones and other devices. Okay, so it's basically the same thing. So there you have it, guys, because apparently they've had a lot of police and ambulances showing up to because the phones are calling 911 as you're going through. So that's exciting. Isn't that great news? That's so wonderful. Well, if you'd like to help support the channel, we do have a Patreon page, patreon.com/TOMM. This will help support the various channels that we have. And with that, guys, we will catch this one later. Thanks for hanging out. And catch ya. Thank you for watching this video from Switched to Linux. This channel would not be possible without the backing of the program supporters scrolling on the screen now. You can be a supporter at Patreon at patreon.com/TOMM or at thinklifemedia.com. I also want to thank the open source community who creates such excellent software that makes producing this show possible. Please remember to support your software communities. Thank you, and I hope that you enjoy switching to Linux.